Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to another Fallout 4 mod review, a return to form for the channel, just checking out a brand new weapon mod as we do in our typical fashion, and today we're checking out the BRN-180 Assault Rifle by Linguini. Now, this, as you can tell pretty much immediately, is a very tactical, modern assault rifle, which I know isn't everyone's thing, but this mod is pretty nice. It has a lot of customization options, and honestly, it's just a really fun assault rifle to use. Right off the bat, when you're looking at this thing, you may be thinking, we already have so many M4 mods, what's the point in using this one? Well, this isn't your typical M4. While it does use an AR-15 lower, I did a little bit of research into the BRN-180. It is actually an upper that you would attach to an AR-15 platform that has a very different look and a very different style, and a very unique charging handle compared to other ARs on this platform. The charging handle on this weapon is located almost where an AK's would be, though it has a lot of flair to it. That being said, sadly, this mod doesn't really make use of it, as it just uses the animations from the Mark 18 mod, which it will require to function. So sadly, that charging handle kind of goes unused, which is a bit of a shame. It would have been nice to actually see that and have it be a really unique feature of this rifle, but at least it's still there. The body of the weapon actually looks a bit like an MCX to me, with some of the rounded edges and the overall shape of it, but it has a very long barrel. This weapon could honestly be used like a bit of a DMR support type rifle, but you can customize it to your liking because it is Fallout 4 and there's a ton of attachments over at the Workbench. You can have it be a fully auto assault rifle, you can have it be semi-auto with a long scope like, again, some sort of a DMR, but that's about it. Where the customization really comes in handy is the ability to add on different skins to make this look exactly how you want. You get a bunch of different magazine types, including the ability to change out reload animations, as well as the option for a ton of different optics for different scenarios. This weapon is sadly not added to the level list, but instead is craftable over at the chemistry station. Luckily, level list patches are a pretty common thing now, so I expect to see one for this mod very soon, and if there isn't one, it's not too terribly difficult to do on your own. I may make a tutorial for that sometime in the future. Lastly, this mod also has see-through scope support, as a lot of the optics in this pack require it to function and do offer some really nice scope alternatives. Without further ado, let's go ahead and hop in-game and check out the stats of this weapon and some of its other neat features. So here we have the BRN-180 as it comes standard, with a handful of interesting attachments right off the bat, including the fact that it has a default automatic receiver. This thing has a base damage of 20, uses 5.56 rounds, has a fire rate of 136 and fully automatic, a range of 107, an accuracy of 77, a weight of 7.6 pounds, and a value of 1,443 caps, which is a pretty hefty value considering that you craft this thing over at the chemistry station. Now, right off the bat, you'll notice that this thing looks awfully strange here in the inspection menu. It looks very dark and shiny. This is just a thing in here and in the weapons workbench. When you actually use it in first person, the weapon looks fine. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and check out those custom animations. Now, as stated earlier, this weapon does require the Mark 18 mod to function as it uses its animations, but it does have two animation options. So I'll go ahead and show them now so you can see them for yourself and decide if this mod is right for you. Starting off, here is the full auto with the standard animation. And then we also have semi-automatic with the alternate animation that you can apply at the weapons workbench. Definitely a lot faster, so I'd recommend picking up that one if it is an option for the magazine you choose. Now then, let's go ahead and pop over to the weapons workbench to see what all you can do to this weapon. As you can see, I've made some templates here already with some pretty cool skins and attachment options, all of which very different from the last. So let's go ahead and hop in and start with the receiver section, where right off the bat we have the automatic receivers with a base damage of 20 with a maximum automatic damage of 34. And then for semi-automatic receivers, we have a base damage of 30 and a maximum damage of 52. So it's really up to you which you prefer, though automatic is going to sling out lead pretty quick. We then have a left rail option to add a 1 milliwatt laser. We have an upper rail option for a tack laser that will only activate when you are aiming down sights. For the stock section, we have a handful of options, including the standard buffer tube, the option for no stock, a Daniel defense stock, a fixed stock, a foldable, a VLTO-R, and the Viper stock. My favorite of which being the fixed stock, since you know I like the retro stuff. Going over to the handguard, we only have one option, and that is standard. Maybe at some point we'll see an update to add even more options. For the pistol grip, we have the option to have the standard, the M16A1, and the skeletonized grip. Again, my favorite being that M16A1 since it is ripped straight off of an M16. We then have the magazine section where we have the standard magazine with the alternate animation, a PMag with the alternate animation, the 20 round magazine, and the 60 round magazine. For sights, we have a good handful of options with the standard MBUS iron sights, the ACOG sight, Aimpoint Comp M4, the Barska with a circle and the Barska with a dot, Seymour sight, the EXP holoscope, the LCAN Spectre, the OKP7, and the Vortex UH1. A good amount of scope options, but not too many that it's just full of bloat. With that, we move on to the lower rail section where we can throw on different grips, starting with the standard no grip, the Fortis Shift, the Magpul AFG, the Magpul RVG, the Zenitco RK1, and the Zenitco RK4. And then a grayed out one that we have over here known as the Hyper Dank Grip, which is essentially the rifle equivalent of truck nuts, because you really need that for your weapon. Interestingly enough, this attachment takes 2 fat mans to craft. Then we have the right rail section where we can throw on a 5 milliwatt laser or a tac laser. And then the muzzle section, we can throw on a handful of different options like the standard muzzle brake, the 5.56 suppressor, the Fortis Nitride 1, 2, and 3 muzzle brakes, the KAC suppressor, the oil filter suppressor, and the Strike Industries cookie cutter muzzle brake, which looks really intense. Then we do have damage modifiers that don't have any requirements. This is just to balance it in your game as you see fit. We have 0 up to 90%. And then for materials, we have a handful of options. Starting with the standard black, we also have tan, two-tone black and tan, ERDL woodland, ERDL red, digital urban, digital snow, digital naval, and body count with a cool geometric red pattern. And now then we'll go ahead and move on to our damage test, for which we will be running 3 tests today. The standard version of the weapon in fully automatic as it comes by default, a fully upgraded version with a high-end semi-automatic receiver but with no damage modifiers and no perks, just so we can see how the weapon performs on its own, and then a fully upgraded automatic version, same story, no perks and no damage modifiers. I want to see how this weapon actually performs out of the box without needing to adjust it whatsoever. So, starting with the standard version of the weapon, aiming for the Deathclaw's weak point, let's see how this thing performs. With a 30 round magazine, more than halfway through his health. And then 6 rounds to spare in that one, with about 54 bullets to put him down. Not too shabby. And with a good rate of fire, that makes him go down pretty quick. Let's see how we do in semi-automatic with a fully advanced receiver. It's aiming at the Deathclaw's weak point once again. Let's see what we do. Taking him down in 15 shots. It might have been a couple less if he hadn't moved around there. That way we could have been getting critical hits, but still pretty good damage. Now let's see fully upgraded in fully automatic. Not too shabby in 27 shots. Pretty good damage compared to the original and a good rate of fire to boot. So yeah guys, that is the BRN 180 by Linguini, a pretty cool weapon mod. This is a very good one to add to any modern tactical load order. The only drawback is that it does require that Mark 18 mod, though if you're running a tactical load order, my guess is you probably have the Mark 18 already. So if that's the case, there's no reason not to add this one in for even more M4 variety. A level-less patch would be pretty nice to add this to even more enemies out in the Commonwealth, and there's a good bit of customization options in the weapons workbench as well. So a really, really good mod by Linguini. If you want to try this mod out for yourself, it will be linked down in the description below as always. While you're there, you can consider checking out the Patreon, where you can support this channel even further, though it is completely optional. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to drop a rating, subscribe if you haven't already for more videos just like this, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace!